Okay, so it's like 2:45, and it's I don't know. It was one of those weird nights where I get woke up a couple times, but I was so out of it that it felt like I don't know. It was just like I could stay asleep, even though I'd wake up and then I just fall right back asleep. But I don't know. Stella just kept stirring and stirring, so. It was like 1:30 or something. She wanted to go outside. I think I had to get a piece of wood for the fire. As soon as I opened the door, she kept bolting outside. And so she's out there, and so I've been up ever since then, because then it's like, no matter what I do, oh, well, then she wants this, well, then she wants that. So, I gave him some medicine and treats and all that stuff, so it's like still the middle of the night. It's like I can't even tell you how many of my days start in the middle of the night. So, but I go to bed early. So, I mean, I got to, or I wouldn't get any sleep. It's no matter what, it always starts the same. So, if I go to bed late, then it just screws me. Okay, so let me see. So, I wanted to, there's like some different stuff I wanted to talk about, but I want to talk about this movie. So, and there's just a weird thing too. It's just, and this isn't, I mean, it's just like a notice thing. It's not like any big deal or anything. It's just, you know, I've just noticed all these things while all this has been going on. I was pointing this out, like, that's when I started realizing, noticing these things is when I started realizing it's like everybody's kind of unconscious. Everybody's just like they're not focused on real life. And, you know, that's just something I started seeing throughout this awakening. But this is just, you know, because my brother has Plex and he has Netflix. So all the time I'll go on Plex and a Netflix movie will come on. And he loves these Armageddon movie, whatever, Into the World movies. And he likes the action movies, superhero movies. They always put that kind of stuff. And he writes horror movies. So he's working on, oh, I don't even know if I told you this one the other day. This synchronicity. It was trippy because I don't even know if I can say it as accurate and trippy as it was. And I might change it a little. And also, I don't know if I was calling it boondock root or burdock. It's burdock root. It's not boond. It's like burdock. And so anyways, in my head, I kept thinking about, was I seeing the other thing? But so anyways, he puts these certain movies on, so I was just assuming, oh, he's going to put that one on for sure. It's the exact kind of movies he likes. And so I messaged him, and he goes, oh, I just watched that last night. You don't have Netflix? I was like, no. He's like, okay, well, I'll go put it on. And but it's just funny because he put so many on, and I was assuming that he would, but then he went on there and watched it, and then he didn't put it on his. And so it was like, that's weird. I mean, maybe he would have in a couple weeks or something. I don't know. Which there was some other strange conversations about some movies where I was like, do they sometimes just pretend they're putting a movie out just to do these junkets so that they can get their narrative out there? Because that seems like it's going on right now. I don't know. Because this was weird too. Was I had seen, you know, there on TikTok there's these celebrity news people. They're on YouTube too and stuff. These people who just focus on every motherfucking thing these people do. They just want to talk about it. They talk about the housewife. They know all this stuff. I guess a couple weeks ago, there was some conference or like a gathering of reality TV show people, I think, or something. And all these people went to it and they were so excited. They're taking pictures with these people and stuff and putting them online. And of course, TikTok promotes and YouTube promotes those kind of channels because they want to promote mindless living. Mindless living. Just listen to us. Do what we say. Take this and you'll feel better. And so so I see these people because they're promoted, you know, they're always talking. And I seen this one yesterday, and she was talking about this new movie, and they have this cast lined up, and I was like, you know, that's a good cast. I wonder what this movie's about. It has Emma Stone, Ruffalo. I can't remember all the people. As I think his name is Ravi. He has he had a show that he wrote. He's Egyptian, and he was writing about what it's like when you are African but you're Egyptian. Because Egypt's a part of the African continent. You know, just like I was saying, it doesn't make any sense for us to call people Asian from Asia, the continent, because you have Middle Easterns and you have Oriental people. And just like the Oriental people, that's woke bullshit, calling us Asian. We want to be called Oriental because we are from the Orient. And but they, you know, over here, they just manipulate people's minds so easily. I mean, we watch it. Like, you can see it happening. And so anyways, they were talking about this channel girl was talking about this movie. They're out doing this, and I think it links back with Taylor Swift too, which, I mean, you know, I don't know. That girl, to me, I mean, it's weird. She looks like that one guy's daughter, Crowley or whatever, the Satanist guy. It's weird. She looks so much like him or her, and it's weird how much power she has. And it's weird, like, I mean, it even could have been like a young girl that was, you know, found on the internet, and she had talent, and she looked like her, and they could do soul swapping for all we know. We don't know what the fuck all these people do. Like, it could have taken some of her DNA and some of the other ladies' DNA, cloned, made this secondary Taylor, and then, you know, killed the one off and slide the other one in. Like, you just don't know. These people are weird. I'm sure we all have clones out there. Like something on my eye. And so, you know, just don't know, but it's weird when they have somebody who has so much power and they hang on every word, and she's got so much support. And then, you know, she gets with this, you know, like this match made in heaven. He's got pull, she's got pull. And then he starts promoting certain things that are not for your health. Like, it's like the opposite. It's like, okay, it's just, you know, I don't know, just a lot of things are just observation. It's like, okay, this is weird. But, so I'm pretty sure she's involved with this little thing, too. And the breakdown this lady does, because this lady's so focused on what's going on the strip. So focused. I mean, and she's constantly crying about it. She's like, falls apart about it. And, so I don't know if I can even put it all together. But something about, it's either Rami or Ravi, but he is also a stand-up, I guess, and he's on tour. And he had the show, like I said, he was the Egyptian guy who was talking about, you know, being African, from Africa, but being called African, or something. What is it? Is the continent called Africa? Now I'm getting confused. And I can't look it up because this is my thing to look it up on. So I don't know. Maybe I'm getting confused. But anyways, he has a show, and it is, you know, about being considered. I don't know. You just have to go watch it. Well, I'll keep trying to explain it. But anyways, so he had a like social, you know, social information social awareness show. You know, but there's so many of those. Like, they want us to think about everybody else's story, everybody else, what's going on with them. I mean, even to the point, you know, in Lifetime channel, the whole fucking thing is just people's stories. So, anyways, he's on tour, and he is donating all the money from his tour. So this is all in this little thing to bring up about this movie, to bring up all this other stuff. So this cast is on some sort of, I don't know, junket or something, going around promoting their movie. And but then it's got this links to Taylor, and links to Rob, or this guy who's on his tour and stuff. So he's on his tour, and he's not taking money for, his thing. He's sending it all to the Strip. And then, so, he's praised and worshipped. Then then Taylor likes his post, and then Mark Ruffalo likes Taylor's. So that they start putting all this stuff together. And it's just like, okay, this is weird, but it seems like a lot of just like, let's connect the dots so we can just talk about this place over here. What's going on under the star and the Strip. It's like, okay, this is weird. It's like, it just is a way to twist things into this all the fucking time. Like, that's all they want to fucking talk about. And so then I thought that was strange. And so, but I was interested in seeing this movie, and it was called Poor Thing or something. And so I sent it to my brother. I said, oh, also while you're looking, look for this movie. And so then he sent me a thing back, and he said that movie doesn't exist. He was trying, and it says it doesn't exist. And I was just like, well, that's weird. I said, because they're out doing like a promotional junket or something. They're all lined up together taking pictures and shit. I said, that's weird. I said, that's a real wag the dog kind of thing. Could they be making pretend movies and promoting them so that they can just get out there and pass, to get a narrative spoken? And I was just like, so many times I know I'm just planting seeds. I know people think I'm just so strange. Like, there's a whole interaction I'll talk about with my daughter again. But so, I was like, this is so strange. And so I was like, well, we'll just see. I said, if the movie shows up, just grab it. I want to see it. And another thing, too, is like, they should be doing something different, because I had just seen like a guy talking about he went on a date and took him to the movie theater. And it could have been taking his girlfriend. It could have been a regular, his girlfriend. But went to the movie theater on this date as an adult man with an adult woman. And they said it was horrible. It's full of kids. It's like it's become a babysitter on the weekend for people. It's like where all the kids go. Like when I was a teenager, we went to the drive-in. We took over the drive-ins. Well, so now they take over the theaters. So just have that awareness. If you want to go to the movies, that, you probably want to go at the early times, because they take over the theaters in the night and they sit and just talk and have conversations, throw things. So it's like teenager world at the theaters. So anyways, but I would prefer to watch at home anyways. More comfortable. Plus you can just stop at, go pee. Like, it's why would I want to go sit in a room with a bunch of strangers in uncomfortable chairs with a bunch of weird smells, and get somebody putting their feet on you? Like, it's, no. It's like, I don't, it was kind of gimmicky there for a while, but then after a while, it's like we all start looking around like, this is some bullshit. But then see how it just cuts us off more and more and more. But it was like it was like the whole scenario. Like, we're going to go sit out in a dark room all together and not anybody talk and just be entertained by this giant screen, which, any of us who went, it was great to have the big screen. It was way more exciting, the surround sound. But everybody's developed their own surround sounds in their own homes. And people have my brother has a theater room in his house. Oh yeah, because he does the movies. Because his is the one that I went and worked on, which he's doing a part 2. And so I said, oh well, I want to be involved. I don't even know if I had told about this part because it was cool. Maybe I told somebody else. I don't know. It could be weird to some people, so I don't know. This could be weird, but I thought it was cool. And so, so I'll share it because I think this world is supernatural. And so, I had seen, this was last week sometime, and I had seen this custodian at work. And I might have already told this story, but it's totally blank. I can't remember it all, so sorry if I've already told this. So, his custodian, he's at work at this school, and he has to work at night, and it looked like a pretty big school. And so he's by himself. And he said that he had heard from other custodians all the time, how scary it is at night. They have a huge overturn. And so he's telling his story. He's walking into his classroom. He stops and he shows this picture that's hanging on the wall. And he said, "See, it's this school is made on a burial ground. This used to be a cemetery." Like, this shit is so fucking creepy. Our government is so fucking creepy, man. And so, he goes, I went into this classroom and they had a party. And so there's balloons everywhere. He said, "See those balloons and stuff?" And so then he looks and he turns over and there's this red balloon back at the back of the room all by itself. And he said, "All the balloons are fine except that one. It won't quit following me. It follows me." He said, "It's the creepiest thing." And so he starts following him. And he keeps going, backing up, to the point where he leaves the classroom and goes out in the hall. And the thing comes up, follows him all the way from the back of the classroom, all the way out to the hall. And then it's like a person, and it just like turns and stands there looking at him. Like, it doesn't go further. It just is like watching, like, what you gonna do now? It's so creepy. And so the guy is like, "Oh, that's fucking enough." And he takes off and the video ends. And so I sent it to my brother, because my brother's always, he's always writing stories, and always, like, it's a thing of the scene, the creepy places. And so I was like, well, that's a pretty creepy concept, the school and the custodian, and he's all by himself. And so he has this creepy interaction. I was like, I gotta send this to my brother. It's creepy. So I send it to him, and he goes, "That's weird, because I was just writing a story, and it is about a red balloon." It's like this, something, I don't know how similar it was, but what he had said in writing the story, and it was about this balloon and stuff. I was like, oh my God, the synchronicities. I was like, that's wild. And then he started telling me he was doing a part 2 to the Ghost Note. And in Ghost Note, the first one, there's an ending, but there's always, a possibility. Something can always come back. And so, because this is, he's a musician too, so it's a haunted record of somebody who sold their soul. And so, the record resurfaces. Only this time, this guy finds it, and he's been abused, he's been beat up at school, he's just bullied and stuff like that. He's like this, kind of musician kid. He's kind of deep, but he's not, he's not like a rocker or something. And so then I said, when he was telling me that about this character, I said, well, I don't know if you already know what he looks like, but I totally picture, when you start seeing it, I totally pictured about that kid, Jonathan, the one who, in Arizona, who got beat and stuff. And he didn't know anything about the story. And so I said a little bit, I said about, the kid and what happened. And, but I said, he sounds like he looks like your character, because he even in high school, my brother had those same kind of glasses and long hair, and he had that kind of, that quiet, creative side, that, because him and his friends, they were getting video cameras and going to making movies and stuff all the way back then. He's always, and he was a musician. He was the one who started playing guitar. I think he was like 10. Even the musicians that would come over to my house that go in and listen to my brother, and they'd be like, so impressed, because he was a kid and he was good. I mean, when he was 15, he'd already been playing like 5 years or something. And so he was really good. And so anyways, and he was just that kind of quiet, and his long hair, and had those big glasses like that. And so when I saw Jonathan, he had reminded me of my brother anyways, in high school. And only my brother had red hair, and Jonathan had that blondish kind of hair. So anyways, I told my brother, I was picturing this guy. And so when I was telling him the story, he said, well, this guy, he becomes a killer. And I said, I was going to send him a picture of Jonathan. I said, I'll send you a picture of this guy. And when he got the picture, he was like, that's the guy. He's like, that's the guy. That's what he looks like. I was like, oh my gosh. It's like Jonathan's energy. It's going to make me cry. Because I said, it's like Jonathan's energy is coming back to do a different story. Because he was telling me in this story that Jonathan gets vindicated. He gets to come back. He's the one who gets to kill the bullies. It's going to cry again. And I said, that's so cool, because it's like he gets the other side. And, I don't know if it's really, Jonathan's spirit that's coming to get to replay this part. But it was, I don't know. I was pretty magical when I sent him the picture. And he's like, that's what he looks like. He already had been in his head. And then the story, at the same time, this kid is beaten up by these bullies. And then in my brother's story, that he is bullied and that he ends up going and he becomes the one who kills all the bullies. So it's the other side of the thing. I was just like, wow, I don't know. I just thought that was super powerful. I thought it was really cool. Which I'll tell you another cool thing right now. Because, in that movie, so the movie, so we put it on and I went and watched it. And I was expecting something so different. I mean, so many people are talking about this movie. So I was really expecting like, boom, some wild stuff. And I was like, this shit is already happening. Like, what? Like, this is already all going on. And at the first, because how the movie starts, how it opens, and it's got all these like symbols going, like it's just nothing. It means nothing. But when you notice what the symbols are, it's like all the things that are going to be affected. And so it'll have some deers, have some planes, have lots of these things, a lot of stuff that goes in them, all these different things. They're flying past as they bring up people's names and stuff for the movie. The movie is so fucking slow. I couldn't believe it. It is definitely not a action-packed, like, and I was even thinking, they are totally using Obama's name. I don't know. I don't think he wrote this or any of the stuff what they're trying to say. And so, so one of the things in the movie, it's shown about all these animal interactions. It was making a thing about that, especially with the deers. And I have been talking about that and talking about this. It's been going on for months. People are having the wildest interactions with wild animals, wildlife, all sorts. Like, you can just look up videos. There's so many. I've been talking about it. And it is, it's wild. And, I mean, fuck, there's just so many. Like, there's people with possums in their house now and raccoons in their house. There's fucking deers. Like, it's wild. The stuff that's going on. It's like, we're coming into vibration with this other part of the world, the other, like with nature or something. Like, our vibration wasn't with nature. And so, you have all these going on. And well, they made a thing about that in the movie. And, so this morning at Westminster Abbey, like out in front of them, is this guy was doing a video and he was on his way to see Big Ben. And he's, came to the, he said at Westminster. And, so with a big building back there, the whole front is full of, I don't think they're elk. It seems like they were big deers and bucks and stuff. They could have been elk. There's a neighborhood in Colorado that filled up with elk. They just came in and just laid down and they could go in people's garage. I don't know if they're still there, but they just came in and took over a neighborhood and just were lounging around in people's yards and their driveway, walking in their garages and shit. And, And so the Westminster is full of a big herd of deers, which nobody has seen before. So they're all out there taking pictures and stuff. Then over at the Statue of Liberty, it says Liberty Island or something. It is the same thing. It's all these deers out there. And they kept having that in the movie because that's a part of, this things of changing where they want to, keep making. What was blowing me away is how the especially the main character, but how she's so scared of everything, scared of nature, scared of everything, judgmental, hateful. Like, she is definitely the representation of us. And there was a couple things that I thought was really interesting too, is how the Friends, the show, is so heavily promoted. The little girl has the Rachel haircut. And I was thinking about, what's weird is Julia Roberts brought in a whole new look with Pretty Woman and Mystic Pizza with the big permed hair. Where does she ever wear that hair anymore? Like, they market these hairs to get all the girls to jump on the trend, and there was such a big market towards doing these chemical things to our hair, and because it's a part of your central nervous system, and it was, had an effect. And I think all this stuff goes together, I'm telling you, to try and cut people off from themselves, and or cut them off from God, however you want to look at it. And so, because your soul, some people look at it as some people don't even know it's in there. And some people look at it as, it says a part of them. It's weird how so many people look at it so different. But, it's like your God particle. It's like that part of you that's alive. And so, confirmation. So, I think I'm going to have to get the toilet paper so my nose is just running again. And so, I have this hand towel down here because this light is so bright. I think it looks so weird, like my head's floating or something. And so with this towel there, I just have to grab it and use it for a Kleenex. So anyways, I thought that was weird how Julia Roberts, she brought in this hairstyle that set a trend. And not only, there was other trends really when you think about it. There was definite shift. She prostitution. Well, no big deal. You can be a sexy prostitute and get a rich guy. It was like, when you think about programming and indoctrination and where our society has become, like, I just saw, this is so disturbing to me. What the hell is some of these ladies? They've lost their minds. It's like, where's your fucking self-respect, man? This girl's, this twerking stuff, it's like, dude, it's like, enough is enough, man. It's like, fuck. Let's just start putting poles out. Let's all just start grinding on the poles. Like, this is ridiculous, man. And, so, and they do this whole, like, really spread their legs and get down low and then just put their butts out and just bounce it. And there's these different videos going around. I just keep going past them. It's like, it's disgusting, honestly. It's like, it's just like private stuff. Like, what the fuck? And there's a video of, it's like I don't even know. I think this kid would have to be tied to sit by itself. Like, I don't think it could sit up by itself for long. It's like, I don't know, 6 to 9 months old. It's little. It could be a year. It's a little tiny kid sitting on a bench, and this woman is twerking like about this far from his face. Just got her ass up there, just jiggling, bent all the way over, touching the ground, legs spread, jiggling her ass in front of this little baby. And whatever, all these people are laughing. I think it's so cute. And somebody was saying, even in the comments, about what people were saying, like, people have lost their damn minds. It's like, that is, I don't understand. Like, if you, like, everybody's at their own level. Like, what the fuck? But anyways, bring in these, celebrities to bring in this certain way of thinking, and, promotes agenda or whatever. And so Oh no, I just thought it was weird. All of a sudden, she's in this movie. I know she's been in some movies lately. I know she's not like gone or something, but I don't know. To me, it seems like that all has like a part of it. Like that was part of the movie, was these signs, these wake up calls, these take notice, pay attention. So, and Joey Roberts is just the most heinous person in this movie. She's the most unlikable. She just is like, ugh, not. She's just yuck. I just don't like her at all. And the guy who owns the house, because she's at an Airbnb, and the guy who owns the house, he shows up with his daughter. Because of an incident that happens, and then the blackout and everything happens. So he comes in, and it takes a while to get through his story or whatever. But when he starts telling it, I was like, "This is Charlie Ward's story. This is this is Charlie's story about what happened to him, because he was on the air, because he was the, essentially it was legal money laundering. That's what he did. He moved the money from all these different really rich people in these countries, like princes and emperor. Like he's moving fucking money around, but it was all legal. But it's still the same shit. And so that was his role. And he wasn't one of these billionaires. He was like, the person who moved their money around. So he would get a lot of money. Like he had a lot of money, but he wasn't, running in their crowd. And so, but there was ones who obviously started liking him and respecting him, because he said there was a couple different flights, because the first time he heard about it was like a couple years ago, and there was a mention of what was going to go down with, that's what his channel was about when it first started. It's when, I was listening to him when he was talking about this, and it was, they said about the sickness, they were going to close everything down to collapse the collapse of the financial, and that they were switching us to something different. And so he just kind of blew it off. And then there was another one a couple years later, and something got said, and they said, well, we're really close to that happening. And so then he was like, just, they mentioned it again. And so he still didn't take it too serious. I think it was the third time, and that was when shit started going down. And then he started taking it serious, and he was asking questions. And I don't know, to me, it was like, what is the fucking chances of that? And it's in this movie. That's what I'm saying. There's white. This is not, Barack's movie. This is white hats using a pen name or something to get information, and it's to get people to pay attention, to wake up, to look around, to notice. It's like they make a point constantly, how helpless these people are without their phones. They don't, they can't find their way around. They are completely dependent. Even when her son has this reaction that could be, the sound, which I can hear the sound all the motherfucking time. And it's like, oh my God, if they're going to do that shit, it's horrible when it comes in really big like that. I was like, fuck, man, that sucks if they're going to be hitting us with that shit. But it's not going to be long term. It's going to be like a jolt or something. In this, they were, I think, trying to get people to understand that this technology exists or something. They're trying to get it out there to people, and how serious it is. Because even when they go to try and talk to Kevin Bacon, who's, a prepper, who's prepared for this, but he's also, like the person who I knew, let's go into a food alliance. They're very, I'm prepared, you better go, step off. Becomes very divided, which is the opposite of what we need to do, because we need to come together as a community, because that's how we build back up. We can't be each other's enemies. We have to come back together and, change things. Think of, like, what do we need to do to build a community? And food and stuff like that. It's gonna, and I don't know where we're gonna be our starting point. I don't know what all we have to lose to get to this whole thing. I mean, a lot of people are losing a lot of shit. The footage of the Tennessee tornado, and then Crystal said in the comments it was still going. It hit into a base, Air Force base, the next day. It's like tornadoes used to go for a little while and then peter out. Now they've got these tornadoes that just monster tornadoes that just keep going and going. It's wild. And so anyways, the main character, the guy who owns the house, so he's the main character too. And he's black, and he's real super rich. And so I don't know, it's like they had to get this part in of, because of Julia Roberts. I don't know, there's just some weird stuff, like, where, is she acting this way towards him because they're black, or because they're showing up at her house, or she just doesn't trust people, or she just, I don't know. It's just an added on thing. I don't know. I just feel like they're always trying to build racial tension all the time. And so anyways, but he is playing, I swear it's Charlie's story. And so he had the same thing where he was moving money, and they told him this thing was going to happen. And it's a story where he said the guy was joking around saying, yeah, I work for the Cabal. There was a thing like that with Charlie's in his story, and where, there was some kind of weird thing. And so anyways, and the girl, this little girl, she's got the Rachel haircut. She wears this t-shirt, this NASA t-shirt, and her brother, every time they're in these scenes together, he's wearing Obey t-shirt, and she's wearing NASA, so it's Obey NASA, which NASA is something with Satan or something, which is all just misleading, as it's just obey, do what you're told, don't ask questions, what they want their society to be. Just mindless droid society who, doesn't have their own needs, doesn't have their own identity. They're just, slaves. And so, I think that was definitely being done on purpose. And I don't know if it's the sound, or the boy got bit by this really big bug, and they made a whole thing about that. The bug looks so weird, which to me shows, like, they've released these strange bugs, like that's already been done. These strange bugs are out. You get bit by one, you're definitely going to get some kind of sickness. They're loaded with them. They're using these bugs as weapons. And he gets so sick that he and his mom totally relies on medical. And it has this whole thing about her freaking out. Well, she's got to get to a doctor. That's the only thing. Has no idea how to. Nobody even looks at his goddamn bite. They don't even fucking evaluate it. They don't try and, put some mud on it, put some honey on it, get some castor oil. It just is. What was that? Because I just saw someone talking about hemorrhoids, and they said you can put sugar on them to make them go down, but castor oil will heal them. So I just seen someone talk about that with castor oil. But anyways, so they don't even look at this kid's bite or anything. It's just like, we got to get him to the doctor. We got to get him to the hospital. And then there's a whole part where the electric car, not just this part is they use all these electric cars, and they just make them drive themselves to block off bridges to isolate us. I've been saying that for a long ass time. It's all about this controlling our movements and isolating us you know, which I know as soon as shit goes down, that's what's going to be here. We're going to be really isolated because how will we cross into Canada? And the only way out is across the mountains. You can't cross the mountains in the winter. And the only other way is out the 5. Well, the 5 is going to be completely blocked off. It's the coastal highway, and it goes up through Seattle and stuff. So we're going to be isolated out here. Once this shit, whatever, you know, who knows what, you know. I mean, an earthquake and a tsunami blocked that off. And the only thing we could do is just keep going up the mountain. But we couldn't cross over it. The roads are closed and stuff. Like in other places in mountain towns and stuff, there's roads that get closed. And this is one of them. So, and they've already started the snowstorms. This weird ass snow that just keeps sitting there melting and just keeps sitting there. Water keeps just like so fucking weird. It's so fucking muddy, and there's pools of water now too. And it's so slushy, and it's just a fucking mess. It's like, oh my God, I just can't believe how many winters of this shit. Fuck. And that's why I moved over here, was to get away from the bad winters in Spokane. My dark night was such a bad winter. I've been through some hellacious winters. It's like, fuck. It's been one after another over here. So, anyways, the kid, they start getting hit with this sound, and they keep saying, well, a whole bunch of different things about who's attacking them, but it's a weird word, but they said that that's what's going on, and I can't say it. I can hear it kind of and see it kind of, but I can't. I don't know. But anyways, the thing is to create these attacks, create the hostility, create the fear, and then get us to fight each other. And that's, you know, they want us to take ourselves down. And I mean, there will be some people that will do it. I mean, you've already got people out there who just mindlessly just want to fight with people, want people to do what they think, do what they say. And then you get all these people to minimize other people, think they're NPCs, think they're stupid, they're soulless, they have no value, all this bullshit. So anyways, so the sound comes in, and this kid has some sort of reaction, which I think was probably to the bite, and his teeth start falling out. And that was in the first part of the movie too. There was a thing where all the images were going, and one was, for sure one, I think there was more than one with teeth. And it's like, because they're making us sick, and they're causing our bodies to fall apart. Hair's falling out, people are getting sick inside, teeth, like all of this stuff. And so, but then they rely on medical. And so they have a whole thing about that, which should be getting people to think like, whoa, man, we gotta be better prepared. What if we couldn't get to the hospital? What if there's nobody available? See, people will just think, oh, it's a movie. And, but it's like, dude, this is currently happening. This is already happening. All this shit. It's like, start fucking paying attention, motherfuckers. Like, it's wild. And so, then, they go to Kevin Bacon's house because this guy, he's, you know, prepared. He's a preparer. But he's also hostile. He's like, you know, nobody's going to get what he's got. And he's got his things, you know, and he'll, you know, and even the rich guy, then there's also, what's his name? Ethan Hawke is Julia Roberts' husband. And he is like mindless. He's just so fucking mindless. Even when there's a whole incident on the road, this woman is panicking and she can't speak English, and he just leaves her, and he gets lost. He doesn't know where he's going. He needs his GPS. It's like he needs his device to be able to function. These people don't know how to function without their devices. And nobody's device will work because all the internet and stuff has gone down. And so these people just like fall apart. Like, why wouldn't you just ask her if she wanted a ride? Take her, I mean, there's ways of communicating, even when people are speaking two different languages. Like, you gotta try and figure out another way to communicate. And, but that was too much for him. The whole thing just freaked him out. So he just drives off and leaves this lady standing in the middle of the street screaming. And then he just gets lost. And then these all these flyers get dropped down out of the sky, and they're in a different language, but the picture represents Death to America. Oh God, and but it's all written in another language. And then another guy says that had also happened at another place, only it was all written in Korean, like they're trying to confuse you so you don't know who's attacking. But that they said something like hackers and stuff. Like it's the people in charge. It's the ones in charge, and they've got branches. And so, they've got people, it's like the bad people. And they've got them all over the place. And so there's the ones that are in charge with all the money, but they still have all their worker bees. So all their worker bees are out there. And so any of them can claim it because they're all part of it. And so, they just make Ethan Hawke just look like a complete idiot. Like, doesn't know how to do anything, isn't prepared at all. Just, wants to drink some wine and have some alcohol. Just, typical looking, typical kind of, man that's out there right now. Well, not all of them. There's some that are waking up, but it's like the one you want to kind of, notice, like, oh, I don't want to be like that. I gotta wake up, pay attention. Just mindlessly like, oh yeah, give me a drink, and don't have any connect. Like, to me, it's so much of just showing you what's already happening, what's already around you. And the kid getting sicker and his teeth falling out, and then going and trying to talk to Kevin Bacon, and he starts telling him about another family who have a bunker. He's like, you need to go to the bunker. And when the rich guy goes up to ask him for the medicine for the sick kid, they both pull these things out and are holding them on each other. It's like it shows like what division looks like, how we are each other's enemies. And then he goes and he has a talk, like he talks to Ethan Hawke. And so, there's always these kind of a scenario within another way to look at it. So it's like, to me, it's like about waking people up, getting people to pay attention, getting people to think different. When they are trying to leave, and you see all these cars piled up, and they have to like maneuver out of them because all these electric cars are just going and just crashing into each other. They keep having all of these crashes going on, these big crashes. I just saw another one in a snowstorm, and all these big 18-wheelers and stuff. They've got so many 18-wheelers and stuff that have been crashed. That's going to also impact how stuff moves around. Like, our society is collapsing in front of us. Like, it's all collapsing right in front of us. It's the people who aren't paying attention that when it impacts them, that's when they're going to be like panicked, just like these people. And also they have a part where the little girl, she gets up early and disappears. And the one who's all into Friends, that's all she wants to do is see the last scene with Rachel and what's his name? I want to say Rob or something. I can't think of his name. She said it a bunch of times, but she wants to see this last, scene of their love story, because, that was so built up. And there's one comment where somebody makes about that isn't even a real world, and it's made up, and how these people hold on to Friends in this just fantasy land. And then just the way the girl has the Rachel haircut and stuff, it's like trying to get people to see how mindless, and how many times Friends is brought up is weird. and how this girl is just so consumed with needing to see this. And she says the scene with her brother, you know, how it makes her happy. It's like she needs to go to her happy place. Entertainment just took people, it was a distraction. So you wouldn't pay attention to what's going on, so you didn't deal with your life. My granddaughter's in a huge crisis, like right now, huge. The one who lost her dad. And I think, you know, a big problem, because she's in that generation where everybody's like, oh, this is cool. Here's an iPad. Go on this. It teaches you things. And all these kids were handed devices. And, you know, all these parents thought that this was like the new technology. It was so good. It was so exciting. Like their kids were going to be so smart from it. And instead, you know, it was used as like a babysitter, and the kids became consumed with it. They stopped developing. Emotionally, they didn't develop. They need that distraction. They need something to just, you know, let their mind distract itself so that it doesn't, you know, feel. And so many of them are emotionally immature. I mean, it's all over in the schools. You got kids freaking out and, you know, fighting and stuff. Like, all this has happened because it's the collapse of our society. Like, it's all happening. This is all happening. And then they had, the rich guy has a daughter, and the daughter is kind of snotty, and Julia Roberts is snotty. So they're snotty back and forth, but then they get left on their own, and they're trying to look for the other daughter who's ran off. And you know, she's taking matter into her own hands. And so she found a bike and took off, I guess, to go somewhere else, to a different house or whatever. And she was the one who was having the interactions with the deers before. And they were coming up like a whole herd, and she thought it was so strange. And she tried to say anything, and everybody's always distracted. Nobody's listening, always looking at their phones, never paying any attention, never, you know, present in the moment. And then, so the mom and the daughter, or this other girl, the rich guy's daughter, they are out there in the forest looking for the little girl. And all these deer surround them, and they freak out. They're so scared. They don't even try and communicate. You know, it's weird. It's like, how can you be so motherfucking scared of everything? And it's so weird. And so, you know, it's a whole panic attack, freak out. And one rich girl, she's standing out at some point, and she's looking out across the bay, and she sees, which I'm assuming, I don't know, they're in some big city. I think it was New York. Yeah, it was New York, because she was going to head back to Jersey and cross the bridge, but there was no way out. They blocked all the things because they had all the automatic cars leave the lots and go and wreck and block off all the streets. And so then, so they're watching from this bay across, and they're seeing bombs go off and buildings blowing up and stuff. And because the big cities are going to, I mean, they're already, it's micro, macro. It's already leading up to it. It's building up to it. And I don't know if people are just there thinking, oh, it's going to get better. No, it's not. The cities are going to get blown up. And, you know, it's going to be a I survived situation. Like, it's going to be intense, but those souls came for that. Like, you know, I mean, there's got to be some souls playing all different parts. But yeah, it's going to be bad when the shit goes down. And I was thinking too is, you know, if the 14th, which is Thursday, if that's something with the BRICS nation thing where it starts, you know, they leave everybody out who's not on the gold standard. If that starts then, which collapses our money, which this has all been leading up, like this is all, you know, banks are selling stock, rich people are selling, like all this is going, and it is collapsing it. There's a whole bunch of things when you go in and you hear these economic people and the housing market and all this, it's all happening systematically. This isn't going to be a shock. Like, we're watching this happen, but there's all these people who just don't pay any attention. So it's going to be a shock, just like for Julia Roberts and Ethan Hawke. they're going to be just shocked because they're not prepared at all. They're distracted and not paying attention in life. And because all this shit is already happening. And so then the girl and her, okay, so it keeps jumping around with all these scenes. There's a part where all these airplanes start crashing on the beach, and a ship crashes into a beach, and they say that's because they are messing with the navigation. So it's making people not know where they're going. So planes are just crashing into the beach. And other ones I've seen, it's something with the electronic, because our electronic grid system is all like jolting around. Even there's a lot of footage too in Florida where it's a split screen. It's like the sky is split in two. There's two different skies. One is like a darker, different color, and the other one's a different color. And it's a straight line. And I've seen these before. But right now in Florida, there's a bunch of stuff like that. But so, that's the light to dark. That's the two different realities, the shifting, there's two different realities battling. One's coming into existence and one's leaving. And so, we're in this battle of that. And everything's micro, macro. And so the reality, so the electronic shift or something, what I had thought or heard before, and it's in some of those other movies, is then the planes will fall from the sky, not just try and nosedive down in, they just fall like that because the electricity thing, the current that's keeping them up there'd be a big shift and they'll just fall. So, I don't know. I think that there's a lot of things that are out of sync for sure. So I think, and they make a thing where the guy is outside and he is listening to how loud the planes sound. And I have said that so many times, is how loud it is in the sky. And even the other day when I was driving, and I said, the sky was on the sides of us. Like we were in a global thing like this. The sky was on the sides of us. It wasn't above us. It was on the sides, on both sides. And I was like, this is so strange looking. And the whole thing was so strange, and it was so layered out too. All these different, it was totally trippy. And I was on the state highway. I was like, man, I could pull over and try and get footage, but never ever comes out in those same ways what you see it. It's just wild, and really was different. But I've been saying there's weird things over here. So, anyways, I just think everybody's gonna notice in their own area, and kind of realize we're in different, like, I don't know, it's like different realms or real. I don't know. I think it's different than what they say. So, anyways, let me think. And then the little girl, so she's out. The movie ends with her, and it's a whole weird thing. It's really weird how, and all she wanted to do was gets to the house with the bunker. She's just eating all this food. The place is so set up I don't know, it's like total setup for being able to survive for years, probably underground. It's like just a whole world under there. It's a whole little house under there. And it wasn't like a bunker. It was like a below ground house with a whole store inside of it. And so the little girl goes and she's in there, and then she finds friends, and then she just goes and starts watching that. And while all these people are out looking for her and stuff. And, I don't know, just a lot of like mindless, a lot of selfishness, a lot of, that's the things that people got to wake up and see and realize. And it's so trippy too, is like when I try and talk to people about healing, how the things I say are somehow foreign. And it's like everybody's so programmed and indoctrinated. And it's so weird too. It's like how when I talk to my kids, how it's always like it's my beliefs. It's just like this weirdness of me. And yesterday was a whole thing with one of my daughters. One of my daughters, she's all into the parasite cleanse now, though. I've got two of them doing it. That with one, she's just like she's saying it's driving me crazy. I feel like I can feel them in me. Welcome to the club. Been there. I still can feel them up in my eyes and my nose. And but yeah, when you start realizing, you start getting really focused on it. So she's starting her cleanse, and other one, she was doing one too. But is the thing with the point I want to make, it isn't like I'm trying to drag people into my back and forth or something like that. It is stop and think about things and look at it from a different perspective and see. And what I have definitely seen is, my kids, I don't know, look at me just in, no, I don't know. I don't want to say no value or no respect because, like I said, then I'm sure they'd be like, oh, I love you. Well, you're my mom. You just talk about weird stuff that I don't want to hear about. And that I'm a doomsdayer. I'm just a doomsdayer. That's all I do is talk gloom and doom. Doom and gloom. That's all I say is about doom and gloom. It's like, I think I'm talking about current events and the changes on the planet and waking up. I'm pretty sure that's what I talk about, but all I hear is doom and gloom, and I'm trying to scare everybody. It's like, shit is going on. If you guys are paying the fuck attention, what the fuck? I'm not making shit up. I don't know how many times I've had to say that. I'm not making shit up. This stuff is going on. Go look it up. And this was just weird. So one's husband had gone on an art thing in LA, so he had to go out of town. He was going to be out of town. She said he was going to be out of town for a week. And so then she called me yesterday over there's a whole big thing going with my one granddaughter who's, struggling. And so she called me to talk about this because it was just happening. And I must have said, is he back? And no, I didn't say it. She said, he's back. And she said, oh, he's back. And I said, it's already been a week? And she starts laughing at me and telling me, oh my God, you have got something about time, which, yeah, I don't have any track of time. I don't have a job. I don't have school. I don't have, yeah, why would I? And so she's like laughing at me, which, you can take as totally disrespectful, totally disregarding, and telling me, yes, oh my God, can you not keep up with anything? And so I'm getting a little mini lecture on this. And so then I'm like, it has not been a week, like a whole nother week. And she goes, it's been 5 days. I said, when did he leave? And she said, Monday. And I said, when did he get back? Friday. I said, that's not a week. And she's like, yes, it is. And I said, that is not a week. It would be the next week. And I said, that's not a week. And it's like, so you're laughing at me because I think it hasn't been a week when it hasn't been a week. And then you're trying to convince. It's like, this is so strange. Like, some of these conversations I have with people are so strange to me. And then it's right away, it's always putting me in the defense of laughing at me as soon as the conversation starts. Then, talking about what's going on in her opinion. And then there's like, well, because there's like, well, should she just be pulled out of school? And everybody's got to talk about it. And I'm like, I don't even think I said, I might have said, well, and she said, well, we already know what you think. And it's like, yeah, I was like, and so she continues saying what she thinks, and and then it's trying to just, well, this person thinks this or this person thinks that, why it shouldn't be that way or whatever. And I'm always like, well, everybody has their own lessons. It's like, and I said, this is all about, people with their priorities and stuff. This is all about lessons, and people have to see. And it's like, oh my God, you always have to just turn it into some kind of weird shit. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And she's like, why you always have to turn it into something? Why you always have to go off on your weird shit? And I'm like, okay, I'm done. I said, I can't even remember how I said it. It was something like, there was no appreciation for what I have to say. It's just a constant attack on me every time I open my mouth. So what is the fucking point? And, it's like you can't see that it is constantly attacking my opinion, my viewpoint. And I'm not allowed to have my own opinion, my own viewpoint. And that's going against, because it's going against her boundaries. Because my opinions or my beliefs or how I look at life or any of that stuff that comes out of my mouth, unless it's, telling you that you're doing a great job and you're wonderful and you're perfect and how lucky you are. As soon as I start talking about anything, I'm trying to lecture, I'm trying to force my opinions on people. It's like, I'm just trying to be a part of a conversation. I just said what I thought, and then it turns into, these are my beliefs, and I'm not allowed to say them. And I said, I don't, but I'm not allowed to even say my own opinions. There's no value of what I bring to the table, then what is the point of me talking? It's like, I'm not going to continue this conversation. Then, I hung up. And so then I get a text. And this is the second one I've gotten this week, of this long text of explaining to me, how my boundaries are ridiculous. It is my own, I shouldn't be able to have boundaries. Like, how ridiculous to think that I should want to be heard when I'm speaking, that I shouldn't be told that I'm attacked every motherfucking time I open my mouth, and that I'm trying to force my opinions on people, and I can't be happy unless everybody thinks the way I think. And this whole thing, I was just like, and she ended it, well, have a nice life. It's like, I don't see how you don't see that you were telling me how dare I have boundaries, when my boundaries are that if I'm talking and saying my opinion, that if you don't agree with it, then fine, you don't agree with it, but you don't start ridiculing me and putting me down and making fun of me. And and when your boundaries are that I'm not allowed to speak, then there's a conflict. It's like, where where do I get to fit in? What is my role here? I'm not allowed to speak, or I'm going on your boundaries. And my boundaries are, I don't want to be attacked every fucking time I speak. Like, so there's a conflict, obviously. And I didn't argue back. To me, I was like, the universe definitely said, oh, don't you worry, we got you here. They take care of this stuff. This is how I've lived so much of my life. And, why some people think, like, I don't know, that I'm passive about stuff or whatever. But, like, I know the universe works this shit out. I'm not going to sit here and fight with you. I'm not going to try and convince you, argue with you. You can't see it. The universe will make sure you do. They'll show you. They've got magic like that. They'll show you, and it all depends on what you're here to learn. It will be shown to you, and you will experience it, or, right now we're right on the verge of everybody getting this good, clear look at themselves in a mirror so that they can see these sides of themselves. I don't know. I don't know for sure how, like how they turn some of this stuff to see it the way that they want to see it. And it's like, to me, it's like I don't have value. Like, I don't, it's weird. This is like, when they were little growing up, that I was devalued. And so they still see me as that. They don't see me as a person, like the things I talk about, my opinions, my beliefs. And even the stuff that I say, this stuff is happening. What are you talking about? Is this really happening? And, I mean, now they're doing the cleansing thing. I've been talking about this stuff for fucking a couple years, telling them. And then it's like when they think of it, it's like it's their bright idea, because I'm just over here talking about my beliefs. Nobody's listening to me. Nobody cares what I have to say. Like, I'm just this weird woman who gave birth to them, who, doesn't give them what they want in life. And it's so much of for one thing, to me, I really had to see, like, I've got to be willing to walk away from everybody to stand in my own truth. To, and if you don't want to talk to me, you don't want to hear me, you don't want to be, you don't even have to, you don't have to respect what I say. You don't have to be like, oh, well, it's God's word. Mom said it. That's not what I'm saying. But at least, when everybody else is saying their opinions, which I think are shallow, superficial, rude, argumentative, and then I add in mine, and mine are fucking, shut the fuck up, you wild, old, crazy person. Nobody wants to hear your shit. You're always trying to lecture us and tell us. Yeah, but, I definitely have lived that way in life of knowing that the universe has my back. That it's not my job to go and teach everybody and to show everybody. The universe shows you. The universe will, my kids don't realize how many things that they judged me about that then they are experiencing. I don't know, maybe they put it together. I see it. I've seen it ever since I was young. I noticed it. If I judged somebody, that I had to go through experience, so I would see from there, it's like the universe is always showing you other perspectives. And so I've seen that for my whole life. And so I know that is, the universe will take care of it. They'll show. Like, what's the point of me to keep trying to argue and get you to see what I'm trying to say? That I should be able to say my opinion. I'm not trying to force anyone into believing my opinion, but my opinion is still who I am. You're telling me to shut myself out, only bring in the parts that we want. It's like, well, I come with a whole package. You don't get to just pick and choose what parts you want from me. I'm a package deal. And I've fucking worked on this package. This is the package that I like. This is the package that I present to the world. This is who I want to be. And, I want to be aware. I want to know what the fuck's going on. I want to be able to I've always believed in the supernatural, mystical, and this magical side of the world. I've always been aware of it. And, it's just, I'm just like over being made fun of. And I've told them all, like, I don't care. If we got nothing to say, we got nothing to say. It's fine, send me the pictures. I'll send you your birthday money, whatever. But, our relationship of me sitting there and talking and listening to your opinion, and then as soon as I say something that I'm shamed and told to shut up and keep my opinions to myself and stuff, it's like, no, I'm done with that bullshit. I'm done with being shunned and treated like there's something wrong with me, especially at this point when there's so much of this shit going on. That's why, like, fuck, right now, it's like, I've said, it's like these people are all like locking in, and then the universe is going to slide right in with this mirror and hold it right up to their faces so that they can see, the truth of who they are, what they are doing, and how they are treating me. And then, because I don't treat them that way, I listen to you know, and I think so much of their stuff is all just three-dimensional bullshit. And it's very hard. It's very hard to listen to shit and talk about schools and bullshit like that. It's like, yeah, I have a different opinion about the food, the schools, our fucking air, why we're sick and shit. And so it's fucking nonsense. And I had just like a bunch of things that were like trying to buzz around in my head. Just let me think. I'm kind of going towards wrapping it up. She's already on moving around. It's been kind of like this all night. But you know, it's the whole thing is just, you know, becoming into awareness of yourself, of really thinking about, you know, because everybody has these programs are running, you know, these programs with my kids were set when they were kids, how to treat me, what was acceptable, and, you know, to look at me through this lens of, you know, that I'm an idiot, and then I am different. I'm different than a lot of people. Not a lot of people just sit and argue with somebody and think that they've got to make their point. I'd mic drop. The universe to take care of it. I don't need I had nothing to say. It's like, not you know, I know that these are dead end arguments. It's why am I going to try and convince you to see something that you can't see? That's not how it works. The universe will let you play it out. They'll make sure you see it so that you understand. And so, and if they don't, it's not my concern. It's like, but I don't have to put myself through it. And I'm not talking about like just cutting all these people out of my life. She was the one who's like, good, have a nice life, because when I have boundaries and you're laughing at me. And, but you know, I'm not cutting people off like that. It's just like, I'm not going to sit and put myself through this. I'm not going to have conversations and pretend like it's okay. I mean, I was ready to hang up as soon as I'm sitting here being told that I don't, you know, can't keep up with time, like being laughed at and stuff. And it seemed like there was people in the room, like it was a little fucking show or something. I was like, this is bullshit. I guess just bullshit. And, you know, but that, and you know what, too, is I think that so much of that behavior, like using other people as the butt of your joke, get other people to make fun of somebody with you, is so sitcom-ish. It was so programmed into sitcoms of, you know, Chandler, you know, the Chandler personality or something. And I think that, you know, everybody's got to wake up to their own programming. I mean, people they just don't realize how much they're programmed. They don't realize how they're so on autopilot, how, you know, they watched movies and the movies taught them behaviors. The movies shift you of how you look at things. You know, they're always telling you how to look at things, who to judge, who not to judge. It's all been manipulation. It's all been to make sure that their asses are covered. You know, the bad guys have always been under the protection of the beard of distraction. And so this week, I think that there's going to be some big distractions. I mean, they already went in with their big, you know, one of these at that school, and they already got Joe out there. You know, he's going to take these away because we're not going through this again. They've already got these kids out. Well, now I'm going to talk about it, what I went through. Now, how horrible was it when it happened at my school? They've got this woman. This stuff is such bullshit. So McDonald's now is starting a new place, Cosmic Burger, Cosmic or something, and the M is real big. Which the M being real big is it's a certain letter in the alphabet. It has all meaning. The M. That's why we've got M&M's, McDonald's. Like these M's are everywhere because it has a purpose, has a meaning. And so the M in this burger place has a purpose, and the new McDonald's thing. And so this woman on TikTok, this young lady, which these people who are trying to be influencers, they get used by these people, and they think like, oh, they're getting a good deal or something. It's like, you're being used. So this girl, this new Cosmic Burger place opened up in Indiana or something. And so she flew over from London, flew over to go to this burger place. Just so happened, Fox News and several other news outlets were there when she was there. And so she came because she had to be, first in there to try these new burgers all the way from London. And flew in, and then the news found out she had flown in. So, of course, she had to be interviewed. And so, it's all this gameplay and promotion. It's just like one of these celebrity people, the one lady who really focuses, I don't know, there's somebody talking about the strip and stuff, but one of these influencer people that she went over to the Star Land, over the real star, over to that land, the Holy Land, to do a whole fucking tour or something. And it was all promoted and paid for. And she's a big old influencer. So they took her over there, and she was going to share all these videos to show this great trip and how wonderful it is over there. And there was a couple of like total, bullshit pictures that are so, I just can't get over how fake so much shit is. Like every fucking person, you're just walking around with your goddamn camera and everything. Bullshit. These fucking shit is all set up. And so it was a couple of pictures, but then it was like 8 months of no, she didn't put in any of this footage of all this great trip. Nothing. Now all of a sudden, they have her on the news, they have her being interviewed and saying about, what's going on over there, and about, the Starland, that how the value and all this. So they just get these people just promote their agenda, and these girls who, so desperate with all their fucking makeup on to be influencers, that they, just pay them to say whatever, as they think that they're acting, I guess. So anyways, but your paid promotion for cabal of control. Okay, but if you were focused on what's really happening in the world and not focused on, having influence and money, then I guess you would notice what's going on in the world. And you would see, the people who are out there trying to be used are being used. Like there's this guy, Harry or something. He completely just talks shit on Trump and stuff all day long and makes shit up. I don't know, do they send him a script and say, hey, you gotta say this? And who knows what these people, what their pay has been, like what they got. And, they're gonna get it taken away, like maybe some, like buy him a house. And then they're gonna take the house away if you don't go out and say what you're told to say. I think it's weird, but these people all do it. They just buy into these narratives and these agendas and then play their part. It is a mindless head speaking a narrative of these rotten people are trying to control us. And people just have no awareness because they're so desperate. They're so desperate to be chasing something that I don't even think they know what they're chasing anymore. It's like, I don't know. But it's all falling apart. Like there's so much of this stuff being exposed and different people, different scenarios. But, I think this week, if we can hold out hope that this is going to be our final crash. This will be our, it's just hard to put too much energy into it. It's just that it's all building towards it. So even if this isn't finally the collapse of it, it's so close. There's supposed to be 65 branches of Bank of America that are going to close this morning. And the person who was doing a video about that was like, this is going to affect a lot of people. There's a lot of people's jobs. 65 different banks closing. And so there's going to be more and more of those, people losing their jobs. There's going to be more arrests with these people who have, followed orders. And but I would think that there's going to be a lot of distraction between now and Thursday, because they don't want us to be paying attention what's going on with the gold standard and stuff. Even gold has been going up in price. The silver is still held because they use that as a part of their marketing thing. But once the banks crash, the silver is going to explode, and the value of silver, and then probably other heavy metals or whatever solid is. Everything's got to be solid. It's whatever you can afford. Platinum could be worth a lot. Copper could be worth a lot. I've heard silver's going to be worth a lot because there's things with the technology that uses a silver thread. And so silver's going to become very valuable, I heard. And even when it first goes and the silver goes way up, it's going to keep going and going and going. Like, it's going to go way, way up in value. So even if you have some, you know, it might help you to get through. Like, but I don't know how long this stuff is going to last. Like in the movie, they make like that this is the way things are going to be forever. But, you know, it's already happening. This is going to be where it's going to flip out of this. But something is going to, because this is the building up of waking people up. So, yeah, there's going to be a bad thing that will happen that's going to flip everything. But all the stuff is already happening that they're showing is going to happen. So, this is, but we still have all these big weather events. And see, they weren't showing about that. They weren't showing about, you know, the earth changes that are happening. And I think that is what we're going to start seeing more of when the thing flips, that they're going to start taking it more serious about, you know, people going towards safe places and stuff. Right now, the narrative is controlled and directed in another way, but because it's working towards getting people to wake up and pay attention. And but then once it flips, then I think it's going to be so much more about, you know, getting prepared, and the earth changes, and there's, I mean, nature is trying to interact. We've got all these beings and creatures and beasts and everything, you know, beginning to make themselves known and present. There's it was like a side of a mountain. It's all rocks and fossils or something. It used to be water, and they just pulled out a whole head of it was like a dinosaur head, and it's a water creature. They said it would be a mix between like a T-Rex and alligator. And the head's really huge, and they've got the teeth and everything is intact, and they think the rest of the body is deeper in there. But that is what I think, that these creatures are still in the water. I think, you know, for them to do that movie, the Megalodon or whatever, the giant shark, I've seen a thing since that movie was out where they have found, scientists have things where they found, I don't know, giant tooth or whatever, where they think that there is still some of those in there. And to me, it keeps showing in the sea where there's sea creatures that are starting to be seen. I've always thought there were sea creatures, always. I've always thought, like, you know, there's other life. There's a whole world in that water living. It's people's disrespect for all other forms of life, all other existences. That, you know, that's kind of like the human experience is very self-centered, self-involved. And I'm sure it's been a part of, you know, the learning and growing as the soul to go through these different experiences so that we can learn and grow through them. But it is, you know, so much of the human experience, especially in the present moment, is so, I don't know, so much of the victim mentality, so much of dependency, sickness. There's so much sickness and so much dependency on the people who are making you sick to run to them for the cure. The overwhelming amount of commercials right now on, you know, the magic pill here. There's one after another. It's like it's bombarding us. But that's the kind of stuff that is supposed to be so absurd what wakes people up. It's like, oh my God, how many of these are there? You know, with those of us who are awake, it's like, oh my God, this is so annoying. This is so annoying. That's where you just got to keep stepping back into observation and don't get caught up in it. Like even, you know, with my daughters and stuff, it's like I have to step back into observation. I mean, there's serious things going and stuff, and it's out of my hands. These are other people's lessons. These are other people's awakening occurring. These are other people's challenges. And, you know, we got to remember, you know, to give everybody the same respect of like, you know, you got to figure out your stuff. The universe is showing you stuff. And then when I say stuff like that, you know, people just think I'm so wacky. And that's, you know, that's where I'm like an outsider, because I'm always talking about something that just sounds wacky. It's a different way of looking at things. It's a different way of existing in the planet. And let me think, because there was something else I was going to say. Let me think if there was any other videos. I thought it was really cool, the ones I saw with the deers, especially after just seeing that movie. But I've seen so many of these other ones too. But I just thought, oh, how synchronistic that in that movie. And then all of a sudden this morning, the same kind of situation, the same scenario with all these herds of deer showing up in these places. There's probably more too. But, and there's something about also the electromagnetic thing is watch how the birds are moving. Right now, there's so many where everything just seems whacked. Like everything is just, oh, that's funny up there too, because they have like the universe spinning underneath. Oh yeah, there was something in the movie. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And this is like the universe is spinning and this figure is out, and then you have the whole universe around him. It's just like spinning around. But in the show too, when they're out in the forest, in the deers and stuff, there's a part where the forest kind of did like a magical thing. And I think that was to kind of open your minds to the portals and the magic that's in the forest. Like that's, you know, I've been saying that. And I thought that they were dropping a breadcrumb about that in the movie too. Because that is magical and there is universal, and it kind of showed a pattern. And, you know, there's, this is like the people have to wake up to so many different things. But the end game is realizing, you know, who and what you are and what this place is. And the games that we've been playing, and you know, we're shifting to a new game, a new mortal existence. It's going to be based on other energies, you know, but you have to work through confirmation. You have to work through your shit in order to get into this other thing. And it's wild, is that, you know, so many people, they just circle back. It's like really hard to break out of your programming. You just circle back, and then I know that the dark energy will keep people spinning in there too. And I don't know how to tell people how to get out of that. You know, it's like to me, there's some things I haven't experienced, I guess. But to me, you slow down, start believing in yourself, start thinking, you know, you can handle this, you can do this, you can figure out new ways, you can be different, you can change, you can become anything you want to be. You're not the product of your environment. I mean, for God's sakes, if you were a product of your environment, you know, how did Jim Carrey go from homeless to being, you know, a big star? It's like, you know, he would have just stayed a homeless person. You can change and become, you know, anything or anyone you want to be. Well, I mean, it's destiny too. I mean, he was that due to destiny. I know, like, there's a whole thing about manifesting, and he manifested it, but you can't manifest it unless it's meant to be yours. Like I said, I think he had signs coming in that were guiding him towards that. And because that was where he was always going to go. It was always where he was headed. I think even when he would give up, that voice inside of him would push him and push him, because it was destiny. He was always going to be. It had to go that way. It's not. So It isn't, I mean, there's destiny. Like I've said before, you know, if you're here to experience lack, that's a lot of lessons. Not everybody's here to experience being rich. That's lessons. Everything is about lessons, and everybody's here to experience different lessons. So, but you can, you know, it's however you grade success, but you can become what it is you want to be, but you got to listen to what your internal drive is. You got to listen to what's inside of you, not outside of you, trying to capture what somebody else has. You go inside what, you know, what you're going to be successful at, what you do good at, what you're here to experience. Not all the experiences, not just like one key experience, and that's the winning experience, you know. So it's you know, it's just like there's, I don't know, it's like a lot of complexity to it, because, you know, there's confusion where people think like, well, you manifest hard enough and you can become rich and famous and have all the things you want. It's like, well, that has to be a part of your destiny. And manifesting isn't just trying to become rich and famous. Manifesting is working towards your goals and your desires and becoming the best version of yourself. And then, you know, I don't know, maybe if you do that, then, but there's people who become rich who, you know, become rich for all different reasons. So I don't think that is like the end game. Like that's what the universe gives you back is like, oh, now you've become successful, so here, now you're rich. It's like, because they always provide the things you need. I think it's always trying to figure out what it is you need. And, you know, do you need friends? Do you need security? Do you need shelter? It's like it will always give you the things you need, but it also has to do with timing. And, you know, there's so much complexity to it, and it's so much about an individual and your individual relationship with self, and your understanding of what you're here to do, how you're here to what benefit you're bringing, what your lessons are, and being present and not being judgmental towards other people, and knowing that the people who come into your life are there for a reason, and to teach you. And I'm telling you, you know, even when I've thought like, oh, I'm going to help somebody, you know, I'm going to do something to help somebody, it always comes back to me. It's like, oh, no, they're helping me learn boundaries. They're helping me learn what I believe, what I think. And so, you know, it's just wild. You just got to notice those things. And I've definitely noticed that as of late, you know, thinking, oh, well, I'm here to help this person. And it's like, no, nope, I can see that's not it. I'm here to learn, you know, stand up for myself, believe in myself, my boundaries, and, you know, the universe will push you and push you and push you to be more defining of who you are all the time. Once you define yourself, it's like, well, let's get a little bit more sharp. Let's sharpen these edges of who you are. Let's see, how do you stand on this? How do you stand on that? And it'll just keep coming and coming and coming. But you got to remember that this is the video game. This is the challenges. This is oh, I got this, you know. And, you know, I just want to leave this last thing this morning is, you know, even goons deserve love. Everybody deserves love. So, you know, you gotta, it's all in how you look at yourself. So, anyways, we'll see how this week goes. Just be ready and be prepared. Like, just have your stuff. I mean, they're telling other places, have your flashlights, have your candles. I should have got candles when I got that toaster oven. But also you get a bunch of candles, and then you get sick from that. There's something in the candles. This girl got sick and she felt all this black smoke all over her house and stuff. So, I don't know, batteries and flashlights or torches or whatever, and which I don't have those. But I don't know. I'm not that worried about the dark or whatever. And I do have a generator, and I can start it up and plug something in and cook. And so, and then my grill, that's not where, like, all my stuff is just keeps breaking and breaking. It's like this world is falling apart. You know, you can drive yourself crazy trying to put it all back together, or just let it all fall apart and just keep on moving. It's like in that show with Leonardo DiCaprio when he's going and the whole thing is falling down behind him. I think there's even a part where they start running because it all starts falling down so fast. And that's how I look at it. You know, you just got to keep, it's all falling down behind you. You're going to drive yourself crazy trying to, you know, patch it all back together and put it all back together, because there's no putting it back together. It all falls apart and we start over. So anyways, just wherever you are, you know, this week, just stay on your toes and be prepared for anything. But just remember, when anything goes down, it's going to be like a brief moment. Even if we do have 10 days of darkness or whatever, which I don't think it's going to be like months or weeks or anything. I think it could be 3, 5 days, maybe 10. And it could be in different places. Some people have 3, some people have 5, some people have 10. But I think it is, it's for impact. It's for impact purposes. It's so people, you know, feel the impact so they fucking wake up. This is all about the awakening. And then once that goes down, then we get to deal with all their anger and all their confusion. But it's also going to turn things in a different direction. And so, you know, some of us will start being able to put the pieces back together, you know, go in and find where we want to get a place, where we want to start building our lives and stuff. So anyways, we'll just be prepared and just know when shit goes down, just keep in mind every day, no matter how many days it goes, that we're cut off from things, is that it's temporary, it's temporary. You know, this isn't going to be forever. We're going to be back on, we'll go on to the quantum system, we'll go on to gold standard, and we'll start, you know, we got to go through the collapse of the housing market. We got a little shit that's got to go down. So anyways, just remember, we're moving towards something good, but this is all a collapse. And the collapse is going to take down some people. I mean, that's their exit. That's what they're here for. So, but if you're here for what I'm here for, keep moving ahead, and letting the world just fall apart behind you. And keep yourself in observation. Don't get too caught up in the bullshit and the drama. And especially with family members and stuff. Don't argue and fight. Let the universe show them. Don't try and convince them. They can't see what you're trying to tell them. They have a part of their mind is just closed off. And it's, you know, everybody is just, it's a very self-centered view of self, of the light side of them. They think everything's they're so perfect, but they're the perfect victim. But then all of a sudden, everything is going to, like, lights come on, and they will see, everybody will see the error of their ways. It'll be all they can see. So anyways, just try and stay and, you know, just letting things just roll off your back. The universe does have this. The universe has got our back. The universe has got everybody's back. Because this is all about learning and growing. It's not about punishment and ending. Well, there's an ending, but there's a beginning. A way better beginning is coming from this ending. So anyways, I'll talk to you tomorrow morning.